All right, let's go to our guest line as we kick off hour number 2 here. And we're pleased to bring on the voice of Boston College football, John Meterparel, joining us on the show here. John, how are you today?
I'm trying to think if I should hide after that intro.
Yeah.
I'm doing good, thanks.
Good. All right, let's talk about the season to date. 4-1 start. They've lost 3 in a row. They hit a bye week. What changed in your mind from the start of the season to these last 3 where they lost to Virginia Tech, and Louisville? 3 consecutive games.
Just costly miscues. Just not playing a 60-minute game. They haven't played a 60-minute game since Florida State, and clearly, they had their moments. The 4-1 start, everybody was extremely optimistic. They crept into the top 25, and as well they should have been. So it hasn't been all bad, of course, but it's just an interesting team in that they ride a roller coaster. It seems like it's been that way for the last 5 or 6 years, as you guys know, similar to Syracuse. An inability to get over that 6-7 win hump and get to that magic 8 mark, which kind of makes you relevant in college football. So it's just a calamity of errors. Quarterback has been inconsistent. Defense has been good but not great. Obviously some injuries like everybody else has, but I could talk to you for 5 hours about what has plagued them the last 3 games, but I will tell you this, in that Louisville game, they blew a 20-point lead. That's the first time a BC team has blown a lead of 20 or more points since 1999.
Wow.
So you've got to close that deal.
Yeah, and so what happened in that game? I know Castellanos got a little banged up, right? What was the turning point of that game?
Well, I don't know where that came from, to be honest with you. He wasn't banged up.
No? Okay.
And I know that was on the television side, but no, he wasn't. So it's just a matter of Louisville scoring at the end of the half, using their athleticism to their advantage. We all know Louisville is probably the best athletes in the conference behind Miami, and that helped them. So BC lost momentum. They lost focus a little bit, could not sustain drives. And, it's all, I hate to put everything on the quarterback, but as you guys well know, with McCord this year, he plays well, you have a real good chance to win. If he doesn't, see the Pittsburgh game, you don't. So that's what it is with Castellanos. He has to play well.
John, you mentioned something earlier that I want to go back to about the similarities between Syracuse and BC and Northeast football. And I want to get your take big picture. With conference realignment and everything, I go back to the days when Elvis was still alive. Northeast football was a thing, and it was tough. And now, is it possible for Syracuse and Boston College to win and stay successful in today's college landscape?
Oh, yeah, no question, Paulie. I think it's definitely possible, and I think both schools made really good hires. Obviously, Fran Brown's had a terrific year, and Bill O'Brien's had a terrific year as well. BC's doing a great job recruiting. I know Brown, that's his strength. So I think that's extreme optimism on both sides. There's no reason why BC and Syracuse can't be perennial 8-win teams, 8-win or more teams. There's no reason why they can't compete once in a while for an ACC championship, make a ACC championship game. Certainly doable. Both teams have committed the resources. The money's there. Can't blame it on that. It's just a matter of, obviously good coaching. They're not going to get, and O'Brien doesn't believe in the 4 or 5-star thing anyway. They're not going. If he did believe it, they're not going to get those guys every year. That's well documented. And neither is Syracuse, for that matter. So you got to make sure your coaches can coach the 2 or 3-star guy up, and you could be ultra competitive every year.
We had Fran Brown on the show just about an hour ago, as a matter of fact, and we asked him he brought up the fact that this is a rivalry game, and we asked him, we said, is that important to you? Is it important that Syracuse and BC are rivals and that fans look at this as a rivalry? And in his mind, he said it is important to him that, it is Northeast football, the proximity with the programs, the fact that they're going after a lot of the same guys in recruiting, as you were just talking about. Do you look at it as a rival? On the BC side of things, do the Eagles look at this as a true rivalry game coming up?
Yeah, I think they do. I think they definitely do, because the rivalries, Steve, are lost in the conference. But BC and Syracuse is still there. Especially, fans are. I don't know if they circle this game necessarily, but it's a superiority concept. This is the 58th meeting now in school history. You knew every year, go back to the Big East days, you're going to play Syracuse. Plan a trip for the Carrier Dome. That was kind of a calendar type game for BC fans to take the 5-hour drive up there. So, yeah, I think today's student athlete does consider it a rivalry game. I don't know if it's not Alabama Auburn, but it's definitely something that they look forward to playing.
You touched on Kyle McCord a moment ago. Just curious to get your thoughts, your overall thoughts on this Syracuse team that you're going to see on Saturday. A team that 6-2 and in a much different position right now. Just the buzz around the program. There seems to be a lot more buzz than there's been in the last 2 decades, really.
No, absolutely. From afar, I've been really impressed. I think the fact that they got McCord in the portal is huge. Obviously that's what you have to do nowadays. You got to find that right quarterback. They went out and got one. So after last year when they were alternating everybody, so clearly a need. I love LaQuinn Allen. I love their skill position players. I love Gadsden. I love the kid Ross Simmons is coming on. It looks like Payne is always a very good receiver. So they're well stocked in the skill department. Defensively, I think similar to BC, they've had trouble stopping the run. Both schools probably that's going to be a huge part of this game coming up on Saturday. Who could stop the run better? And that's, I think that's an area I like their secondary a lot. I think it's you hit on a theme there, the increased juice that they have, no pun intended. That's good for the league. That's good in our backyard too. At BC, we've had that too. It helps with the coaching change, and you get that added excitement added in. But BC's been more relevant than they have been in the past, and I look at that, and Syracuse and BC mirror each other there.
Yeah, no doubt. Yes, it is. It's a great comparison. You brought up Thomas Castellanos, and last year he had a really good game inside the dome. Ran for almost 90 yards, had a touchdown on the ground, touchdown through the air. He had several performances last year where he went over 100 yards on the ground. And Syracuse tends to struggle with the dual threat quarterbacks. Can you speak to? I guess you laid it out a little bit earlier. You said as he goes, so goes that offense. What has it been about his performance that you said it's been a little bit up and down this year? Can you speak to what he's bringing to the table this year?
Yeah, I think it's a point where they probably wanted him to become more of a quarterback, and by that I mean not so much a drop back guy, but increase your completion percentage, which he has. His interceptions are down this year. He's thrown 12 touchdowns. He had the game where he missed because of the concussion, so he's become a better passer, but you can't take that element of his game out. And look at the numbers. Last year he had over 700 yards at this point in the season rushing. This year he's at 203. So you're looking at an 80% drop. And that's, I think, a number that's going to rise here in the last 4 games. That has to be better for him because he's much more dynamic that way. I understand, and I know he probably got in his head a little bit that he had to throw the ball more. And become, especially if he wanted to go to the next level, and people have compared him to Kyler Murray. I think that's a little unfair because he's not that player. But he's got potential to play, and then at the next level, I'm not sure he's a quarterback, but overall here in the next 4 games, starting Saturday, you might see him become more of a runner.
And what is the reason? You mentioned the fact that maybe he's kind of changing the way he's playing. Is it also defenses have some tape on him now, and they're better able to prepare for what he brings to the table?
Maybe, yeah. I mean that's viable. There's a lot of tape on him through the last 2 years. It's still tough to stop though.
Sure.
Try to go stop it. So, and conversely, BC has had trouble with quarterbacks like Castellanos. So, Kyron Drones against Virginia Tech, Calandria against Virginia. Last week, not so much. Shucks, a drop back guy, but so a lot of defenses have trouble with those quarterbacks. Clearly, if you have that in college football, that's a bonus.
I said a little bit earlier in the show, I wanted to get your thoughts on this. I said this kind of feels like it's BC season when you look at the fact they're 4-4 now, coming off of 3 straight losses. They've got SMU next. They've got Pittsburgh on the schedule as well. If this team wants to make a bowl game, the easiest path would be to beat Syracuse and North Carolina at home, right? I mean, do you get the sense that there is a sense of urgency, with the team?
I think there is. I was at practice today. You definitely sense that they were, there's a renewed enthusiasm coming off the bye. I think they just want to go out and hit somebody else. That's an accurate assessment on your part. This is a very important game coming up, a swing game, and they've been good at home. They had a hiccup against Louisville. The crowd has been terrific this year. Student section's been packed every game, most they've ever had since I've been at BC for student turnout. So could be a nice day up here, 55 degrees, sunny skies, great day to go play. So, yeah, it's important on both sides.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, I guess last question. With all that being said, how do you see this game on Saturday playing itself out?
Yeah, I think it's going to be real competitive. One score, one possession type game. I don't anticipate a blowout. I think both teams have similar strengths. Both teams have similar weaknesses. So it's a collision course. Who knows? Hopefully, on the BC side, home field does come into play. A lot of teams have remarked, including Michigan State, how loud it was, because the place does get loud. If there's 40,000 plus in there, which I anticipate there will be, so that could be an edge.
All right, John. Appreciate the time. Noon kick on Saturday up there in Chestnut Hill. Thanks so much for coming on. We do appreciate it.
Anytime, guys. And from what I do gather, Paul McCartney is still alive.
Thank you.
It is confirmed.
I'll put you in the he is alive category. Thank you.
Yes. Yes.